400 runs, not in a test series, in a single innings. No batter in the 147-year history of Test cricket has ever done it again. April 12, 2004, Antigua Recreation Ground, and Brian Lara stood alone at the summit of a mountain nobody thought existed. How does a man, already broken by criticism, already stripped of the world record just 6 months earlier by Matthew Hayden, walk back onto the same field where he made 375 a decade before and reclaim history in a way no one saw coming? The answer starts with a phone call at 2 a.m., and it isn't what you think. In the next few minutes, I'll take you inside the collapse that set the stage, the England attack that thought they had him, and moment number 2, a single delivery from Gareth Batty that nearly ended the record before it began. If you love cricket's greatest stories told the way they deserve, subscribe. New legends every week on Cricket Chronicles. To understand 400, you must first understand the wound. October 2003, Perth. Matthew Hayden, all shoulders and menace, batters Zimbabwe for 380. In one afternoon, Brian Lara's most sacred number, the 375 he'd carved into Antiguan concrete in April 1994, is gone. For 9.5 years, that record had defined him. Now it belonged to an Australian. Friends said Lara barely spoke about it, but those closest to him knew. Something quiet and dangerous had begun. Fast forward 5 months. The West Indies are in freefall. England, under Michael Vaughan and coached by Duncan Fletcher, have already sealed the 4-match series 3-0. Steve Harmison had run through the Caribbean like a storm at Sabina Park, taking 7 for 12. Lara, the captain, was under siege. Critics in Bridgetown, Port of Spain, and even Kingston were calling for his head. His average in the series was pedestrian. His team was humiliated. And now, the final test in Antigua, the very ground where he had once been immortal. The pitch was flat, deliberately, some say, prepared as a graveyard for bowlers, a last mercy for a broken side. England won nothing by bowling first. They simply had no choice after Lara called correctly. Chris Gale fell early for 69, then Devon Smith, then Ramnaresh Sarwan run out for 90. And through it all, at the other end, a small left-hander in a maroon cap was building something the world had not yet noticed. He reached 50 without fanfare. 100 came in the evening session of day 1, celebrated with a modest raise of the bat. Nothing theatrical. Nothing like 1994. This was different. This was cold. By stumps on day 1, he was 86 not out. That night, according to teammates, he barely slept. Coach Gus Logie recalled a phone call around 2 in the morning. Lara, calm, asking about field placements he expected the next day. Not nervous. Meticulous. Day 2, Antigua. 28,000 people, drums, conch shells, a heat that shimmered off the concrete stands. And here comes the moment most people forget. On 359, closing in on his own old record, Lara pushed forward to Gareth Batty, the off-spinner. The ball gripped, turned, took the inside edge. It flew to short leg. It fell, inches short. Batty stood with his hands on his head. In the commentary box, Tony Cozier exhaled audibly. 1 centimeter of grass, and none of what followed would exist. He survived, and then he did something almost cruel in its calmness. He kept batting the same way. No acceleration, no ego, just accumulation. Andrew Flintoff bowled his heart out. Harmison hit the pitch hard. Ashley Giles wheeled away over after over. Lara barely broke sweat. At 375 he stopped. Just for a moment. He looked up. The ground he had conquered in 1994 fell silent and then erupted. The old record, his record, equaled. He knelt, kissed the pitch, and got back up. Because this time, equaling was not the point. The next 25 runs were surgical. A late cutoff Batty took him to 380, past Hayden. The Australian, watching from Sydney, would later say he knew from the first ball of the innings this was coming. At 391, Lara clipped Flintoff through mid-wicket. At 399, a nudge to leg, and then off Batty a sweep, deliberate, controlled, and the ball rolled toward square leg. 400. He raised both arms. He looked at the sky. He hugged Ridley Jacobs. In the stands, grown men wept. In London, editors tore up their back pages. In Sydney, Hayden reportedly smiled and said, "Good on him." Why does this innings matter when the West Indies still lost the moral war of that series? Because 400 was not about a scoreboard. It was about answering critics without saying a word. It was about a man who had been told he was finished, walking to the same wicket where he had been a boy king and rewriting the ceiling of what one batter could do in the longest form of the game. There are technical reasons no one has broken it. Modern Test cricket has faster scoring rates but shorter innings. Captains declare, chase results, manage workloads. There are physical reasons. 12 hours at the crease in Caribbean heat demands a specific kind of madness. And there is a psychological reason, perhaps the most important. To score 400, you must first believe 400 is possible. Before April 12, 2004, no one did. After that day, many have tried. Brian Lara got 303. David Warner 335. Craig Brathwaite carried a bat. None came within 60 runs of the summit. Lara declared the West Indies innings at 751 for 5. England batted into submission, saved the match with a stubborn draw. The series was already lost. The record was not. He walked off unbeaten, bat raised, a country on its feet, and a number 400 that would outlive careers, coaches, formats, and generations. 20 years on, it still stands, untouched, almost untouchable. If this story gave you goosebumps, hit subscribe and ring the bell. Next week, we open the vaults on the Bodyline series, the tour that nearly tore the empire apart. Cricket Chronicles, where every legend gets the story it deserves.